Yeah, so I've simulated 10 years into the future in F1 2020. Here's what happened in season 1. So Lewis Hamilton claims his 8th World Championship. Bottas, Verstappen make up the top 3. As you can see, the rest of the table there. Mercedes win the Constructors, and you can see all the races as well on the right-hand side. But the interesting part, I think, is that we'll get on to the transfers for the next year. But Grosjean finishing last and Magnussen finishing 15th at the bottom. A bit of a split between the two Haas drivers there. F1 doing Grosjean dirty there. Vettel kind of a poor season as well. Perez kind of best of the rest, considering Ferrari are still kind of, the top 3 teams in this game. Norris finishing where he finished in real life. Ricciardo, Ocon together. But yeah, for 2022, so we had Kimi Raikkonen retiring, which left a spot open at Alfa Romeo, which was then taken by Lance Stroll, of all people, so that was pretty cool. So at Racing Point, that opened up a seat for Alexander Albon, who joined the Racing Point team. And then at Red Bull, that then left the opportunity for Sainz to join Red Bull, and at McLaren, that left George Russell to fill the space at McLaren, and Sergio Sette Camara to get the promotion to F1 in the Williams. So, season 2, Hamilton, 9th world title for him. He wins again, Mercedes with another Constructors. But in terms of the new drivers at new teams, Sainz came 5th in that Red Bull, so quite far off Verstappen. Russell actually beat Norris. He came 6th. Norris came 7th. So Russell doing well in the McLaren. Who else was in a new team? Stroll in the Alfa Romeo, 15th compared to last season, where I believe he got 11th or 12th. So not great there. And then Sette Camara in 19th. But in the Williams, again, Grosjean coming last. So yeah, not too great from him. But Williams don't actually lose the Constructors. It's Haas who lose the Constructors. And then the rest of the table is pretty simple. McLaren still best of the rest. Ferrari still unable to break into that top 2. But one important thing is actually Sainz won 2 races, one in Austria and one in Spain, as you can see on the right-hand side in Season 2. And at the end of Season 2, there was only one driver transfer, and that was when Magnussen retired. It left a gap at Haas to, just like real life, be filled by the son of the great Michael Schumacher, Mick Schumacher. So he joined, and see how he does next season. But yeah, another win for Hamilton. Can Verstappen finally get a world championship, or maybe Bottas? See what happens. So then season 3, and that was not Verstappen's year, but it was Red Bull's year. So Verstappen ended up coming 2nd again. Sainz, though, coming 3rd. Hamilton still winning the world title, meaning he wins 10 world titles in his career, possibly more to come still. But Bottas finishing 4th behind the McLaren of George Russell. The Ferrari still not doing great, but Lando Norris coming 7th. So three places off of his McLaren teammate Russell. Vettel still behind Leclerc at the bottom of the top 3, kind of the 8th. Ricciardo and Ocon still comfortably in the midfield, but look at Racing Point. They dropped right down. Perez and Albon in 12th and 14th, being beaten by AlphaTauri of Kvyat and Pierre Gasly. Sette Camara and Latifi in 15th, 16th, and then it's just Noah's Ark 2x2 down, with Grosjean and Schumacher 17th, 18th, and Stroll and Giovinazzi in the Alfa Romeo in 19th and 20th. So they had a real big fall from grace, and maybe some shock winners, just like Sainz did last year. Russell managing to win 2 races, one of them at China and one of them at Singapore. Sainz won a lot more, or did he win a lot more? He won 3 races. He won at Abu Dhabi in the finale, America, and at Hungary. So Sainz having a much better season, finishing 3rd, as I said. And for 2024, the grid stays the exact same. No driver transfers happened from Season 3 to Season 4. So it's maybe more and more likely that Hamilton will get that 11th world title. So season 4, and finally someone dethrones Hamilton, and it is Max Verstappen finishing first, winning his first Drivers' World title, along with Red Bull in the Constructors. However, George Russell in that McLaren finishing second, so he's looking like he's going to have a good career. Hamilton third, Sainz fourth, Norris making his way up in fifth, Leclerc sixth, Bottas though in seventh, so really bad for Mercedes. They actually get beaten by McLaren. And Ferrari, Leclerc doesn't have a great season in sixth, but Vettel finished in 11th. So really bad season for Ferrari. They get beaten by Renault in 8th and 10th, with Ricciardo and Ocon still. And as far as AlphaTauri, Gasly does really well to finish 9th. And Kvyat solid in 13th. It does mean they still beat the Racing Point, although Perez gets better in 12th and Albon in 14th, but still a pretty big fall in terms of their form at the beginning of the season, when they finished right up there, down to now 7th in the Constructors. Alfa Romeo, though, they still lose the Constructors, although Grosjean again finishes last for the third time, because of Schumacher's really good performance finishing 15th. It means they finished 9th, and AlphaTauri still finished 10th. Williams make another step up to finish 8th. So, incredible season there. A lot of winners this season, even though Leclerc finished 6th. He won in Mexico. Russell, obviously, a lot more wins. Sainz still got a win. Norris wins in Japan. Hamilton still got quite a few wins, but Verstappen, obviously, was the main man, getting all them wins and carrying Red Bull to their first constructor since, 2013, 2014? Although Sainz has done a decent job, Verstappen obviously was the main winner for them. Now, bit of a silly season after this, although there was only two retirements, it triggered a bit of a domino effect, and there were 9 transfers, I think, going into the 2025 season 5. So, first of all, Grosjean ended up retiring after a terrible run of form over the past 3 years, which meant at Haas a seat opened, and De Vries was the man from F2 taking that seat. Then Kvyat also retired, and to fill his space at AlphaTauri, Bottas went down to AlphaTauri. So his seat at Mercedes was then filled by Charles Leclerc, who has been in the poor Ferrari for the past few years. Pardon me. And so Leclerc finally gets a good car for himself, which means there's a seat available at Ferrari, which Sainz takes away from his championship-winning team Red Bull, to a poor Ferrari, which is an odd choice. But that does mean that Lando Norris, although he's not been great so far this season, gets to drive for the constructor-winning car at Red Bull, and his seat at McLaren is then filled by Pierre Gasly from AlphaTauri, which opens up the seat for Jack Aitken from F2 to take the AlphaTauri seat. So a very different grid next year. For season 5, can Verstappen make it too? The answer to that question is no, because Charles Leclerc, newly transferred to Mercedes, wins the world title. Verstappen comes second, Russell again coming third. Oh no, sorry, he came second last season, so he comes third this season. Norris fourth in the Red Bull. Sainz fifth in the Ferrari, so not as well as he did in the Red Bull, but still good considering where that Ferrari was previously. But Vettel's still in the Ferrari, coming 9th, so Vettel's just not having a great career anymore. Gasly in the McLaren, not really where he should be if you look at Russell. But Hamilton, compared to his teammate who won the World Championship, Hamilton just came 7th, just had a shocker. I don't even think he won a single race that season. No, it doesn't look like it. Norris got a win, Gasly got a win, Sainz won, Leclerc obviously, Verstappen obviously, but pretty crazy stuff. Alfa Romeo again getting a 1-2 on the bottom, well, a 19-20 on the bottom, and Williams again coming 8th, beating Haas. AlphaTauri though don't beat Racing Point this year. as Perez finishes much better, he finishes 10th, and Albon's still 13th. Ocon has a bit more of a poorer season. Ricciardo has not too bad of a season for Renault in 8th. Bottas in the AlphaTauri does much better than Aitken, but I mean, that should be expected. It's only 11th to 14th as well. So, overall, a pretty good season in terms of the championship fight was kind of between 3 different teams. In the end, Red Bull end up winning the Constructors again, although Verstappen can't win the world title. So, Mercedes still come in second in the Constructors, but if Hamilton had got like a top 3 or something, they would have won the Constructors there. So maybe Hamilton might be on his way out soon. Because he's not the best in the world anymore, clearly, considering his teammate has severely outraced him in that car. So then, season 6, and Pierre Gasly, after having a very amateur debut season in the McLaren, beats Russell to win the world title. McLaren won too, but I would have thought it would have been Russell to win if it was going to be anyone in that out of Gasly and Russell, considering the last season that Gasly had. But no, Pierre Gasly wins the world title. It's a close one between him and Russell. And then Leclerc, the reigning champion, comes third. Norris again fourth, beating Verstappen. Verstappen came fifth. So maybe he's not going to win another world title because Norris has just beaten him. Hamilton improves on last season, still only comes sixth. Sainz seventh, and Vettel 12th. So just horrible performance in that Ferrari. But someone who's had a really, really good performance is the whole, well, not just Schumacher, but the whole Haas team in general, really. But 9th for Schumacher and 11th for De Vries, which means they kind of go best of the under midfield teams, kind of. Renault are kind of a midfield team, kind of cemented midfield team. But, they're nearly best of the rest. One more position. In fact, if Schumacher had beaten Ricciardo, Haas could have been best on the rest from last season being 9th. So then you go down the grid a bit, though. Bottas gets beaten by Aitken. So the up-and-comers kind of getting the better of the older boys in this one. And Latifi, though, has quite a good season for Williams. Sete Camara finishing last. The Alfa Romeo, Stroll and Giovinazzi don't come last. In fact, they come 8th. The team in 10th place is Racing Point, with their worst season so far. Perez 18th, Albon 19th. What went wrong there? What went wrong? A really bad season. Considering they're two of the really good drivers on the grid, the game's just gone absolutely nuts. So, yeah, I think F1 2020 game might have something a bit against Racing Point when they were simulating this. The winners, in terms of the winners, it's mainly Gasly, Russell, bit of Verstappen. Norris wins a few races, maybe only one, although 2 races, Singapore and Austria. But mainly Russell and Gasly. Leclerc gets a win at Monaco in his hometown and at Australia. Hamilton gets another win. Russia, maybe his last of his career, who knows? He doesn't retire this season, as you can see. We'll get on to that, actually. 2 people retired, Vettel and Bottas. So, after Vettel retired, the Ferrari seat was available, and you maybe thought Schumacher might take that. No, Daniel Ricciardo, returning to one of the top teams, he takes over Vettel and joins Ferrari. So, Sainz Ricciardo at Ferrari for 2027 in Season 7. And then after Bottas retired, that doesn't leave a seat at Mercedes because he's obviously left and gone to AlphaTauri. That leaves a seat at AlphaTauri for Guan Yu Zhu to take from F2. And also because Ricciardo had left Renault, I would have thought that maybe Perez or Albon might have gone to Renault, considering they're in such a bad car now. But no, it's a F2. It's a rookie joins Renault in Antoine Hubert. So that's quite nice. Obviously, we know what happened. Rest in peace, him, Antoine Hubert. But it's nice that he did end up getting to join a team, at least in the simulated world. And it's the team who most likely he would have driven for, because I believe he was in the Renault Academy or something of the like, because all the photos I've seen he's wearing the Renault team kit and stuff. So that's quite nice to see. Yeah, McLaren Constructors title, Gasly World Champion. Let's see what happens in Season 7. So, Season 7 comes around. Can Daniel Ricciardo win a world title that he was maybe meant to many years ago? No. It's Lando Norris in the Red Bull. Ricciardo comes ever so close in second, but Lando Norris wins a world title with Red Bull, Verstappen coming third, Leclerc fourth, and that 1-2 that McLaren had last season turns into a 5-6 with Russell fifth and Gasly sixth, from the world champion to sixth place. And Sainz is turning into Vettel with a seventh place, and Lewis Hamilton in eighth. He's nearly beaten by Aitken in an AlphaTauri. Ocon in 10th, Guan Yu Zhou in 11th, Antoine Hubert in 12th, Mick Schumacher 13th, De Vries 14th, so Haas again beating Williams in pretty good result in 7th. The Racing Point don't come 20th this time, lucky for them. They come 8th, still not good at all. They come 18th and 16th, Perez and Albon respectively. The last place team is again Alfa Romeo. Even though Latifi finished last and Sete Camara had a good season 15th, Alfa Romeo, 17th and 19th, not good enough for anything above last place. So Ricciardo is back to his winning ways, though. He does start winning more races, as you can see on the right-hand side. But yeah, in the end, Norris is your world champion and Red Bull are constructors' champions. And then let's go on to the transfers for Season 8. Hamilton retires. The one of two retirements. So then guess who goes to Mercedes? It is the world champion Lando Norris, which means that Red Bull seat opens up and Jack Aitken takes that after he does have a good season, finishing 9th with AlphaTauri. So then a seat at AlphaTauri opens and Mick Schumacher takes that seat. The seat at Haas is taken by Nicholas Latifi, which means the seat at Williams is open and Ilott, F2 driver, takes that. And then the other retirement is Giovinazzi. He's not old, but, maybe he's just had enough because Alfa Romeo are so bad. But that does give space for another rookie to come in Luca Giotto. Let's get on to Season 8. Daniel Ricciardo wins the world title with Ferrari. Norris, though, in the Mercedes come in second. Russell in the McLaren third. Sainz fourth. Leclerc fifth. Verstappen sixth. Aitken seventh. And Gasly, 2 years, it's just gone downhill since his world title. He finishes eighth. Schumacher in the AlphaTauri, good season. 9th. AlphaTauri actually finishing 5th overall in the constructors. Other newbie, obviously, Latifi in the Haas beats De Vries, his teammate in the Haas. Ilott beats Sete Camara, but Stroll and Giotto finish 19th, 20th. Again for Alfa Romeo. I mean, they should leave the sport at this point. It's shocking. Ferrari win the constructors. Norris helps them. Ricciardo helps them win along with Sainz. So Sainz seems to just be kind of a number 2 everywhere at the moment. He helps teams win the constructors, but he can't win the world title himself, sadly. But yeah, if you think about it, quite a poor season from Red Bull. They finished 4th, 6th and 7th. Verstappen just clearly not had what he used to have. And as you can see on the right, all the different race winners there. Pause if you want to see that. But Ricciardo kind of dominates this season. And in fact, he dominates so much that he thinks he can't do better. Pulls a Nico Rosberg and retires. Straight after he wins the world title, he retires. And that lets Mick Schumacher, just like we're probably going to see in real life, Mick Schumacher joins Ferrari, and that means Louis Delatraz from F2 comes up and fills the space at AlphaTauri. So yeah, Schumacher to Ferrari for Season 9, the penultimate season. George Russell finally wins a world title. Took him long enough in the McLaren, but he finally does it. And actually quite an interesting second and third place. Jack Aitken beats Verstappen in the Red Bull and comes second. You can see on the right-hand side, wins 2 races, UK and Japan. Brazil, didn't even see that bit. Yeah, Brazil as well. He won there. And Canada, geez, I'm just seeing them as they come. So Red Bull do win the constructors, but McLaren George Russell with the McLaren wins that. Gasly back up from 8th last year from that shocking performance to 4th, so not too bad. Schumacher doesn't do what Ricciardo did and comes 7th, although it is his first year there. And Sainz comes 5th, Norris 6th, Leclerc 8th. That Mercedes I just don't think was as strong. Ocon and Hubert lock out that 9th and 10th, and then AlphaTauri. And then from there, it's just kind of scattered out between Racing Point, Williams, Haas, and Alfa Romeo. Alfa Romeo, though, still finished last, even though Stroll beats Ilott. So, going into the final season, the 10th season, the most you can go in the F1 game, the final transfers are world champion Russell goes to Mercedes. The exact what Norris did. He wins world title and then you go to Mercedes, apparently. It's just the thing you do. But Norris won't be staying at Mercedes. It won't be another the Norris-Russell partnership we had a few years ago. If you remember, they joined up at McLaren in season 4. Norris goes back to McLaren. What a fairy tale ending if he was to do something special there. Verstappen retires. Ocon moves to Red Bull. Sete Kamara to Renault. And Matsushita up from F2 to Williams. So for the final season, that will be the grid. Realistically, it's probably going to be between Russell, Norris, Verstappen, Aitken, Gasly, Sainz, Leclerc, Schumacher for the final world title. Who will win overall? Although it's not really winning overall, but we will say it's winning overall. The final season, and Lando Norris makes it 2. He's a double world champion, goes back to McLaren and wins the world championship. How poetic from him. So McLaren win the Constructors, and as I said, Red Bull, poor performance. Ocon 7th, Aitken 8th. That's a tongue twister and a half. Williams, though, after all their progress throughout those 10 years, they go straight back to bottom 2 for the final season. Haas beat Alfa Romeo. Racing Point get back up to 10th and 13th. So actually, the 10th season is more like the first season than all the other seasons in between, apart from obviously the fact Norris won the world title and all the drivers. But so that is it. That is exactly, I can confirm 100% likely that this is exactly what will happen in real life. Confirmed, legitimate, FIA approved. There you have it. 10 seasons of F1 2020. This took a very long time to make, because not only did I have to sim 10 seasons, which takes days if you've ever done it before, but as you can see, I've recorded every single season, every single race, every single transfer, all the driver standings, all the race winners, all the constructors. So it took a long time to do. So do all the things that you have to do, all the liking and that, because it would be nice. See you in a bit.